Hey guys, so today we're going to be working with exponent rules again. We're going to just be working with things that instead of just having one or two steps, we're going to work with a couple problems that actually have like two or three steps. So that's really the change that we're going to work with today. So again, we're going to be simplifying expressions so that they only contain each variable once and only have positive exponents. We're going to use the exponent rules for that. So for this first one over here, we're going to start off by combining all the exponents on the top and all the exponents on the bottom. So you may notice we have a multiplication rule going on and we have a division rule because we have both multiplication and division in this one. So for this first step, I'm going to kind of compress the top, right? So we're going to start with the whole numbers, 4 times 3, that is 12. Well, if a variable is by itself and there is no exponent on it, we can always put a 1 there. So that's like u to the 1, and we have a u to the 3, so that becomes u to the 4. We're multiplying, remember you add the exponents. And we have a v to the 0. So if you have a v to the 0, anything to the 0 is 1, and we can actually cross that out. We don't actually need that anymore because 1 times 12 is just 12. So when you have a 0, another thing that you can do with that, if it's a variable, you can just kind of eliminate it. It's all gone. On the bottom, we'll deal with this now. We have a 2 and a 3, so we can just multiply those. 2 times 3 is 6. And again, we have a u to the 1, so we'll put that there. And we combine that with the u to the 3, so that's u to the 4 again. And we have a v4 and a v by itself. Again, put a 1 on it. That becomes v to the 5th. So that means when we do our division rule, which is going to be our second step, we're going to divide the whole numbers. So we get 12 and 6. 12 divided by 6 is 2. u4 divided by u4 is u to the 0. And there's no number on top, so that's going to stay v to the 5th on the bottom. It doesn't really move because it would have to be down there. So we can simplify this a little bit because we have a 0 power. Anything to a 0 is 1 again, so that would eliminate. So we get actually just 2 divided by v to the 5th because there is no, that's kind of like a 1, right? Anything to the 0 is 1, so it goes away. So that is example number 1. We'll try example number 2. We're going to start off by multiplying the numbers on the top. So we have 4 and a 4. That's 16. Then we combine the m's. So we have m to the 4th and an m squared. So that becomes m to the 6th. And we'll combine the n's. So we have n to the 2. We have an n with no exponent above it, so we'll just put a 1 there. And an n to the negative 1. So we have 2 plus 1 plus negative 1. Well, that would be n to the 2. Combine the things on the bottom. Well, there's nothing really to combine, so that's just 3m negative 4 n to the positive 3. Now we're going to use the subtraction rule, or we're going to use the division rule, which means we are going to subtract. 16 divided by 3, we cannot actually simplify that. That fraction does not reduce, so we're going to leave it like that. The next thing up is m6 divided by m to the negative 4. The weird thing here is that we have a negative number on the bottom, but we can still do a subtraction. So we have 6 minus negative 4. That would be m to the 10. Because we're subtracting negative, it means we're adding. And 2 minus 3, that would be n to the negative 1, which means that our final answer is going to be 16 m to the 10th divided by 3 n to the 1, because whenever you have a negative, that means that you have to put it on the other side of the fraction, make it positive. So we have a positive thing there as well. So that means we've done that one. All right, that's 2 of them. Let's work on this bottom one here. So this one uses 2 rules. We have a multiplication rule going on, and we have a power to the power rule. That does mean that we have to start with this power to the powers first. We're using kind of the same stuff as you would when you do PEMDAS. So you deal with exponents before you deal with multiplication. So we're going to deal with that exponent before we deal with that multiplication. So I'm just going to carry down the 2x3y2, and we're going to do this out. So we have three things that the exponent's going to go to. We start with 2 to the third. Remember, that is a whole number, so that is actually going to be cubed. 2 to the third is 8. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. Then we have x squared to the third. Remember, we take those exponents and just multiply them, so that becomes x to the 6th. And y to the 12th. 4 times 3 is 12. Second, all we have to do here is combine these powers with adding, and then the whole numbers, we just multiply them, so that 2 times 8 is 16. x3 and x6, that becomes x to the 9, and we get y to the 14 because you add the 2 and the 12. So that is the answer there. We just took 2 steps. Finally, one more. Oh, I forgot to add the exponent there. There should be a 3 there. All right. So for this last one, again, this is just 2 steps. Nothing can happen on the top. So we have 2x4, y negative 3. And the stuff on the bottom, well, we're going to be multiplying these exponents. So x to the negative 2 times 3, that's x to the negative 6. And y to the negative 1 times 3, well, that's y to the negative 3. And now we're going to use the subtraction rule. So we have 2. 4 minus negative 6, well, that's going to be positive 10. Remember, we're subtracting a negative. And negative 3 minus negative 3, that's y to the 0. So that means this answer is going to be 2x to the 10 in the end, because anything with a 0 becomes 1, and we cancel it out. So that's our answer. If you guys have any questions, please come to my office hours and ask. And yeah, good luck.